To the Yogalebrity Podcast. My name is Angelica Govaert, also known as Yogalebrity on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Used to be TikTok, but they made me only 15, so I can't post on there anymore. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. I'm all over the place. I help yoga teachers build online empires. Prior to that, I ran my own online courses online. And before that, I owned yoga studios. I've been teaching yoga for 25 years. And I host this podcast to help other yoga teachers learn how to market and sell their yoga. Today, I'm joined by someone really, really incredible who created an amazing offer for your brain inside of one of my courses. Her name is Raquel, and I'm super excited to introduce her. Now, before we get to that, if you would like to create an online course and learn how to market it, sell it, make money online, build your online platform, you can go to the link below in the description and set up a time to meet with me or someone from my staff and see what it is that we do if it is in alignment with what you want to do. And with that, welcome, Raquel.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I'm really glad that you could come on today. Let's start with tell us a little bit about what is it that made you want to become a yoga teacher? Why teach yoga? Why even practice yoga? Let's start there. Why did you start practicing yoga?
So I'm a physical therapist, and my very first yoga class was at the hospital where I was working, and it was free, and the teacher was amazing, and I just fell in love with it right away. I was like, this is really powerful, and I want more. And so then I practiced for a little while and did some studios and stuff. And then I got a job teaching anatomy for a yoga teacher training. And after a few sessions, I decided that I wanted to join in the fun. And I did my 200 hour there. And I have always incorporated yoga into my patient care, giving little tidbits of yoga with my patients.
So I just have to tell you that a lot of people, I never even thought about this until we just had this conversation, but a lot of people tell me that they wish they like, I literally was just on call the other day where she's like, I run the teacher trainings, but I don't know what to do about anatomy. Like, girl, we should be making a course about yoga teacher training anatomy, like that people can just buy from you and do with their teacher trainings. Like that's what we should be making. That idea just came to me. We'll talk about it later, but I know there's a great need for that. Drop in the comments if you would like Raquel to help you with your anatomy teaching, because I think that's a big thing that people don't understand. So that's cool that you did that in teacher trainings. And as a teacher trainer myself, who does not teach the anatomy portion as well as some other people probably would teach it, I know I'm always looking for someone to teach the anatomy portion, and I'm always struggling to find someone that teaches it in a way that people can understand, and I like working with them. So you're very easy to work with. I know because I've been working with you for a long time.
Yeah.
And you're also very knowledgeable. So you have the two things that people need. You started to practice yoga. You started to teach yoga. What's been some of your experiences as a yoga teacher? What's it been like? And how did you start to specialize in working, with brain health?
So I started my own practice just at various studios around town. And then I started incorporating some of the things that I was learning in the yoga class into my patient care. I also did a certification in Pilates, so mat Pilates, and I found that was good for a practice, but yoga itself was more of a life well lived practice. And so I started incorporating a lot more of the breathing practice and the meditation. So I specialize in neuro rehab. So anybody who's had a stroke or brain injury, spinal cord injury, or kind of a complicated medical history. And so these people have been traumatized because nobody, they're normal going about their day, and then all of a sudden something happens. And yoga is so powerful for helping reconnect with what's happening and find acceptance. So that's where I was really drawn to the yoga practice in my own physical therapy practice.
What are some of the causes that cause people to have a stroke?
So most common stroke is an ischemic stroke, which means that there's a blockage in the vessels in the brain, and that when you don't have blood going to the brain tissue, that brain tissue dies. And so it's very specific which vessel it is. And then if it's on the left side, you're going to have right side impairment. Like you could be paralyzed on that side. Depending on which side of the brain it is, you could lose the ability to speak or have vision changes, that kind of thing. The other type of stroke is a hemorrhagic stroke. So that could be, if you fall and hit your head, that could cause some bleeding into the brain tissue. And the brain tissue and blood don't like to mix. You got to keep them separated. The other thing could be a arterial venous malformation, which occurs, it's just like you're born with it, and maybe there was an aneurysm and it burst open. So those are the two main kinds. You're going to see pretty similar side effects from either one of those strokes.
Is there anything we can do to stop that from happening ahead of time?
So, maintain good health, manage your stress, manage your blood pressure. Diabetes is a significant comorbidity with people who've had a stroke. So, all the things that they tell us to do to stay healthy are important for preventing stroke.
Can I ask you a question? Because recently, what stay healthy actually means has kind of shifted. Have you seen the new food pyramid? As someone I've been a vegetarian like most of my life, since I was 11. So I always been like, oh, the grains. And so now they've turned it upside down. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you have thoughts on it? I'm just
Yeah.
asking you because I'm curious.
Yeah, I do. I feel like a lot of the nutrition advice that has come down from above has been based in economics and capitalist economics. So, the Dairy Association and the Grain Association are making sure that we're eating all of the stuff that they're producing, and it may not necessarily be the best for our health. And yeah, I'm all for updating that pyramid. I have not seen the new pyramid yet, but
Okay,
yeah, I
well,
feel like
the
it's
new pyramid, let me see if I can get it.
is it more meat and fats and less grains?
Yeah, so okay, let me get an image because I can share screen on here. So I'm
Okay.
going to show
Okay.
you the new food pyramid versus let's see, open image in new tab. And this is the first time I've ever done this. I have never shared screen before inside of here. So let's see, while I'm doing a meeting. So let
Uh,
me share this
okay.
screen and see what happens. Let's go over here, food pyramid right here. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Can you see my screen now with
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So this is
Yeah.
the old food pyramid, which, yeah, I know,
Huh?
lobbyists, and I'm wondering though,
Yeah.
is this the lobbyists also with the meat, industry? Are
Yeah.
they also lobbying right now? What are we supposed to really
What are we
eat,
supposed to
Raquel?
really eat? I don't know. I said the protein thing has gone off the cliff now that Starbucks has protein in their coffees. I mean, just let me drink my coffee, I don't know
Yeah,
that I
so
need
this
added
is the
protein in it for $2.80.
I saw a
Yeah,
TikTok
interesting.
this morning where somebody was like, I have never been pushed to do drugs the way I'm pushed to eat protein as a woman in her midlife. But yeah, so this is the
Exactly.
new food pyramid that just
Yeah,
came out
interesting.
with
Okay.
the protein, dairy, and healthy fats, and then vegetables and fruits, and then whole
Uh-huh.
grains at the bottom,
The
which is
bottom.
interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I am not a nutritionist or a dietitian, but I feel like if you all things in moderation, if you eat a colorful bounty of food, and I think a lot of it too is your relationship to food because we use it for emotional support and then beat ourselves up about it. And, there's a lot of disordered eating around, and it's can be sad, be
Yeah,
very challenging to.
I really struggle with food. I'm telling you right now. It's been my
Yeah.
struggle my whole life. Like food is like really a huge struggle for me, and weight loss and all of that. And I grew up in a very obese family. They're like gaining weight is hereditary, like being overweight. And I'm like, yeah, because they taught us really bad habits. So
Yeah.
anyhow, so yeah, like I felt like a little bit lost all the time about, how do I be healthy, because
Mhm.
I feel like there's so much conflicting information and like certainly like I remember like learning when I was younger about learning about the dairy industry and how much effort they put into lobbying to
Yeah.
get us to eat that,
I mean,
so
got milk. We're still seeing
right.
the residual from that. I saw a truck that I don't know, it said "got something." I mean, that ad is still
Yeah.
powerful for
I know
them.
it's crazy. I haven't had milk and I don't even know how long. It's so gross. I'm just like so gross. Anyhow, so that we kind of digress there, but it was just interesting because we were talking about strokes and stuff.
Huh.
So, what kind of benefits do you feel like people can see when they do yoga as someone who has survived a stroke?
Yeah, so a lot of times after a stroke, they have movement impairments. One side of the body is could be paralyzed and called hemiparesis or hemiplegia. And while they're in the acute care hospital or the rehab hospital, they're told don't move. You might fall. And just getting back into that mobility and being able to move again with confidence is so important. And they have to learn how to maybe they have to use a device like a cane or a walker. Maybe they need a brace on their leg, something like that. And I just find that yoga is so helpful for integrating the body again and, getting all of the things that we do that cross midline, that work on your balance and work on also accepting what's happening, in this present moment, being mindful about what's going on in the body and their situation.
Yeah, yeah, and it can be hard for I feel like my grandpa had a stroke. I remember, and it was just really hard afterwards for him. He always had so much mobility and it was really hard for him to do things. He did mostly recover, which was pretty amazing. I know Francesca's dad had a stroke and it's been very devastating to their family. He was like the primary breadwinner
Mm,
and handled everything and now he can't handle really any of the stuff. So it's been very, very hard on their family
yeah,
to have that. So, it affects everybody. So anything we can
it
do
does.
to help people get a life that they feel comfortable in, I think is
Right,
really, really wonderful.
right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're right, it does affect the whole continuum. And if you're somebody who is working and the breadwinner and then you have a stroke and you're not able to work anymore, that affects your insurance and your income, and you may have to have somebody quit their job so that they can care for you. So now you have two people who are not earning an income, and I mean, it just especially in America, in the US, it's can be devastating to you financially and quite stressful.
Yeah, a friend of mine was saying that, you're only one major medical emergency from bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It really is. And,
Yeah.
like when you're sick, I know, I didn't know what was going on. Obviously, this isn't as life threatening as a stroke is, but I had gallstones earlier this year and I didn't understand what was happening to me at the time. That was last year, actually. It was in March of last year and I thought I was dying. Like I'd
Oh,
never
they're
felt pain
extremely
like
painful. Yeah,
yeah, I'd never
it's
felt pain
awful.
like that before. It was really awful. I changed my whole diet after that. Like I went on to
Mhm,
Mediterranean diet. I stopped eating like I used to be like a real like junk food vegetarian, so I would eat
mhm.
like a lot of impossible burgers and french fries. But I changed my whole diet and because you can't eat that stuff, like you literally would die. Um but I did think I was gonna die, and I remember that, like, nothing else that was happening mattered. Like, I get really wrapped up in my business, I get really wrapped
Mhm.
up in all the different people that we're working with and everything that's going on and all the people that work for me, and oh, we got to get this done. And I'm always like adding more to my plate, never less.
Hmm.
But when I got sick, I was just like, man, like there's nothing that matters. It's like everything that I have, you would give everything you have to be healthy again. Like health is the ultimate wealth.
Yeah.
So, and I think that
Yeah.
yoga is financially a lot more accessible for people than some of the other things.
Hmm.
So, can you talk a little bit about like what does yoga do for you when you've had a stroke?
So it can bring some confidence back in your movement. I specialize in chair yoga, and or that's where my certifications have been. And being able to sit in the chair and do yoga is accessible for people. It's safe. It's a good jumping off place for getting started with rediscovering your body again and figuring out how it works now, and helping to maintain your range of motion and your strength and all of that. But also incorporating pranayama practice and meditation practice can help kind of balance all of those things. Because the other thing is that initiation can be an issue after you've had a stroke. A lot of it could affect your executive function, like the frontal lobe part of you that does all the stuff, that can initiate an action and then follow it through. And so I feel like yoga is really helpful for training the brain, especially during meditation, to create that mindset to continue to follow through, and to kind of decrease that initial stress as well, so that they can do the things that they need to do to recover and get better.
So at some point, no, I know a great reason why you would want to bring this online, but at some point you were like, I want to also share this online. I want to spread this to other people. What really drove you to wanting to create something online?
So accessibility is a huge limiting factor for somebody who's had a stroke or a brain injury. They may not be able to drive again, or walking is challenging. Their endurance can't tolerate it. So being able to do something in the home in their own environment is so powerful. And it it just makes it accessible for many people. The other thing too is that you can have captions and alter the audio and stuff, so that somebody who maybe has a visual impairment or a hearing impairment can participate as well, which they may not be able to do in an in-person class.
Yeah, that definitely makes it a lot more accessible. Like just like doing teacher training and not, like if somebody was deaf and they wanted to come into the class, it would be really hard to
Hmm.
find someone to interpret for them, So
Right.
captions are huge for that. I've had somebody go through my teacher training online and she was deaf and I had captions for everything,
That's amazing.
So is really nice, but I would never have been able to offer that in person without a great burden to the
Hmm.
studio, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Like
asset.
yeah, that's a really I love online. I have lots of great things
Hmm.
to say about it. But so when you decided to go online, you decided to join with us and do the Empowered Yoga
Hmm.
Teachers movement. What was your experience like in that? Like, well, let's really start with like more like why did you choose us?
Honestly, it was like I saw one of your ads, and it was just like a automatic thing. I talked with Francesca, and I was like, "Yes, I want to do this." I'm usually somebody who can't make a decision, and I think about it for 10 years and then before I'm ready to jump in. But I was like, "Fit, I'm just going to do it." So I did it. That's that's my story.
What was it that like made you just because a lot of that's like something I hear from a lot of people is like I got to think about it. I don't just make decisions. Like what was it that she said to you or that you saw in what we do that you were like, "You know what? I'm going to go for this." Or was
I
it
think it
something
was that
internal?
a lot of it was like 50-50. So some of what she said was exactly what I say to myself to dissuade myself from doing things impulsively. And she talked about the mindset and like, how many hours are you ready to do this? Because I've been thinking about doing this for like 10 years, and I'll do some free courses here and there that were available on YouTube or something. And but I never invested in myself, and I think she really helped me realize that if I want to do this, I'm going to have some help, um, because I'm not good at um, setting expectations for myself. I will follow through if somebody else gives me an expectation to meet. But when it's just for me, I'm going to put myself second and put somebody else's needs first. I'm still struggling with that, but I'm getting there. So you guys are like, mental health therapy coaches too, and helping keep us on track and moving forward. So I still struggle with that. But yeah, I think having her acknowledge and say out loud, yeah, if you want to do this, you have to invest in yourself. And I was like, yes, dang it, I do need to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I do the same things. Like I sacrifice for my clients,
Mhm.
my own health. I've been up since 4:30 this morning working, and I'll be working until 8 o'clock tonight. But that's all right because I choose that. But what? Let's talk about, because you said like you would do like these YouTubes, right, for free, and you'd like try to like do like the lowest cost course like on Udemy or whatever, right? What was really the difference between having a premium experience and signing up for something that was significantly more of an investment versus like what you got from those free and the low cost options?
I mean, it's huge because you guys offer one-on-one coaching. You have a community of other people. And so the free courses say post online, but there's no context after that. It's just, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I was barely on using Instagram and didn't know anything about that. I think the lessons that you provide online, and you go through it methodically, step by step, and the exercises that you have us do are so helpful because it's a huge learning curve, especially for me, who's somebody who I didn't grow up with social media because I'm old, and I really appreciated having step by step, and then I'm able to go into the community or go into the to the chat and get help when I get stuck, and that was really helpful for me. And yeah, so I'm learning a lot. It's very complicated. There are a lot of steps that go into this, and yeah, the learning curve is pretty high.
I think a lot of people, I'll get on calls with people and they'll be like, I want to go online. And I don't think that people really truly understand like what all goes into that. Like you must have a strong offer and you must drive a lot of traffic to that offer, because a lot of people will go, they'll build a course and then they'll be like, well, nobody bought it. Well, did anybody see it? Did anybody see it? Like I just had a conversation with somebody today. She was like, nobody's bought my course yet. I just started my ads. And I said, well, let's look at your landing page views. And she had like 38 landing page views. So I was like, well, 100 people need to see it before on average one is going to buy. So
Mhm.
you need to up your ad budget. All of the stuff, the statistics are great here, but you're not driving enough traffic to that site for it to get a sale, So, and I don't think people really understand like all of that goes into it. And then, like people will say to me, oh, ads are so hard. Ads are not hard, girl. Ads have made me rich. Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I used to own yoga studios and I made good money doing that from ads. Right.
Mm.
So, I think it is helpful. And I've had I have an ads coach right now, like I have had much help on that stuff, like all along the way. Like, I think it's always good to get help from an expert in the field. Like I've spent
Mhm.
more on building my online business than I spent on my college degree.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, this is out of my experience. And so you really do need somebody who knows what they're doing and will be honest. That's the other thing. I appreciate y'all's honesty and that you deliver with care. And that's where the therapy part of it comes in, you guys are like mental health coaches too.
I know Tiffany said
Yeah.
to me the other day, she goes, I had no idea that I was going to be doing so much like talk therapy when
Uh,
I'm helping people build an online business.
yeah, you need it. It's hard because you have to put yourself out there, and if you don't have the self-confidence or experience doing that, it's definitely out of my personal comfort zone to be in front of a camera and talking about stuff.
What would you say to somebody who, they wanted to they wanted to go online, they wanted to do this kind of thing, they wanted some help with it, but they are afraid to invest that kind of money in something in themselves, into building it, afraid that it's not going to work for them or that they're going to spend all this time and effort and nothing's going to happen. Like, what would you say to them in their decision-making process?
I mean, if you want it bad enough, you have to face that fear. You just have to do it. There's no other way around it. If you're afraid of spending some money to get professional support, then maybe that's just not what you really want to do. Facing your fears is so important. It's how you make progress. I always tell my patients, like, if you're going to take that first step, it's scary, but you have to do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be behind that line that you want to cross, and you're never going to get there. You might move sideways a little bit, but you're still going to be behind the fear line, and you got to be able to jump across it. And if it takes money to do that, then that's it. Or if it takes falling down to do that, then that's what you have to do.
Yeah, well, you've been hanging out with the right people, because
Yeah.
you were like, well, then I guess you don't really want to do it then.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Then
that
you don't
sounds
wanna do it.
exactly like something I would say.
You have taught me well.
I told somebody this morning, I was like, listen, my staff is always going to let you make your own decisions and be like, yes, that's fine. You can do it that way. I'm going to be like, that won't work.
Yeah.
You'll make more money if you do it this way.
Yeah. And I appreciate that honesty so much, because I'm in a care providing field as a physical therapist. And so, everybody's so caring and stuff, and nobody tells you the truth. They just tell you what you think you want to hear. And that doesn't help. I mean, maybe I'll cry a little bit, but then I'll get over it and I'll jump over that fear line and just do it.
Yeah. I had
That's what
somebody
has
this
to
morning.
happen.
She was like, I was so mad that this isn't working on the website and blah, blah, blah. And I don't like how this works. And I was like, well, you just got to get over that and move on, because that that's unimportant. Like, you fix that problem and you move to the next thing. Like, there's always going to be a tech issue. It's never going to be perfect. The other day, I actually accidentally, so someone got our email address and was like, this can happen to anybody. If they know who your server is, they'll like send spam email from your email address. And the only reason I found out is because somebody responded back. Oh, I like your mug, by the way.
Thank you.
Quite a connoisseur of mugs. But anyhow, I was like, stop getting mugs. So I figured out that this was happening. So I was like, whoa, how can I fix this? So I asked C-IAYT, like, how do you fix this? And it told me to put this file inside of the TXT files, whatever, in the DNS directory for the domain. So I do that. And then I go in, and then all of a sudden, none of our emails from our platform are being delivered. No emails, no confirmation emails, nothing, no marketing, nothing's going out. And I'm like, what's happening? Well, it had told me to put in this file that blocked all emails from going out. So not even like calendar invites from Google, nothing were going out. So I was like, oh no. So I had to go and fix that. Like, the tech stuff is the tech stuff. That's part of the job. Like, it's, you can't let that get frustrated. Like, I know the staff were like a little bit stressed about it, but I was like, well, it's going to take 24 hours for it to repopulate. We got to move on. Next thing, we got something else happening. Like, I can't think about that right now.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so after all that, you created quite a lovely course, and you're doing something phenomenal. First of all, I want to tell everybody, you should go down to I don't like to tell people what they should do, but it could behoove you to go into the description below and give Raquel a follow on Instagram, because you create really great content that's very consistent and gives people a lot of fantastic knowledge. And so, especially if you're interested in chair yoga of any kind, it's a really great account for that. But tell us a little bit about your offer and what you created and what people get when they purchase your course.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It is coming together slowly, but yeah, I created a chair yoga course for better balance and fall prevention. And what I've found is that people if they're at risk for falling, everybody gets all excited and they're like, oh, don't move, don't move. Here's that fear thing again. And they scare them into being still. Sometimes we don't know where to start with retraining the system to move again. And so chair yoga is a great way to do that. It's relatively safe. They can start moving their bodies, and it's a 5-day challenge, and there are pranayama exercises, a asana practice, and a meditation for each of those days. And we go through each of the systems of balance per day. So we have vision and vestibular, we've got our sensory system, our muscle strength and sensation, and then awareness. So how aware we are of what's happening around us to our bodies, because a lot of times our awareness can be impaired. We might not even recognize that we have a hand on that side in extreme cases. And so it touches on each of those and gives you physical and mental practice for each of those to increase awareness and movement. So I'm really excited about it. I feel like it's going to be accessible for people who are at risk for falling and will help get them on their way to moving more and moving better.
That sounds like a very comprehensive course that could really help a lot of people. We're going to put the link to that in the description below so that any of you can grab it, even if you wanted to grab it as a gift for someone else. It sounds like it just very helpful from an incredibly knowledgeable human being. So thank you for creating that for the world.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't really have any other questions for you. I'm so grateful that you came on to the podcast today and you've created a really beautiful offer. Please do go give Raquel a follow on Instagram. Do you do anything besides Instagram?
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay.
I have a lot of shorts on there, and I'm planning on increasing my classes for the videos. Yeah.
We'll have those links all below for you to go ahead and give her a follow and grab her course and so even if you're a provider and you want to help people, a course like this could help you understand some of the fundamentals that you need in order to be even more efficient and helpful to others. Again, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today. Absolutely lovely to have you. I would love to have you as a guest again soon.
Thank you, Angelica. I appreciate everything you've done, and you've empowered me to be a Yogalebrity too.
I love that. I love that. Yay. Because the name Yogalebrity, it was a joke. Me and my teacher, she was the manifesting mofo, and her like Instagram to this day is manifesting mofo, and mine was Yogalebrity, and we just thought that was funny. And we were like really close in age, and she was like my BFF really when I was going through teacher training, and then I worked for her, and but I was like young, whatever. It was a good time. And then when I started to go online, that was my online name. And I really didn't, like, if I had to do it again, I would just like call myself Angelica Govaert, my real name. But it just stuck. And so now we have like T-shirts. I own the trademark. We have it's just like kind of a nutshell. But in a way, I feel like it's like, we're all yoga celebrities. Like there's the guy that founded Caesar's Palace. Let me bring it back to Vegas. But that's where I'm from. But the guy that founded Caesar's Palace, his name's Jay Sarno, and he called it Caesar's Palace without an apostrophe because he said we're all Caesar. Like it's the Caesars, all of us, right? It's all of our palace, and we're all yoga celebrities. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Do please subscribe, give us 5 stars, share. Whether you just listen to the podcast and you never work with me at all in any paid capacity, that's all right too. We're glad that you're here. One of the cool things about being online is that it's accessible to everyone. So, obviously I got to get paid for the work that I do, but I do try to do a lot of stuff that is accessible to everybody. So we also have a Facebook group. Francesca goes live in there every week. The link to that's going to be in the description below. But do give us a subscribe and share this with other people. It really helps us to grow, and I really do appreciate it. Anyhow, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.